I'm like David Tennant at the end of his first run as Doctor Who. It's like, I didn't want to go. Now we're finally here. It's like, it just spent so long waiting for this to end, and now we're finally here. Now I don't want to start. But yes, I do. Yes, I do want to get this over with. Hey everyone, I'm CCYamato. Welcome back to the final chapter review for Cardcaptor Sakura, The Clear Cards. It's done! We're finally here, we're at the end! Oh, oodalali. It's been 7 years, a bit over that. This started publication in July 2016, and it is, as of recording this, it is December 8th, 2023. That is, yeah, that's 7 years and 6 months. Oh, but anyway, here we are, finally, we're at chapter 80. It's time to finally finish the series, and as you can see here, I have it loaded up on YouTube, but I actually don't need to do that anymore because they finally got around to uploading the entire series. See, look at that. If I do the drop down, they're all here. So you can read the whole series like this. I absolutely encourage you to, support the official release, but for the purposes of this review, you can absolutely go to this website and do it too. I mean, just buy the books. They're at Barnes and Noble or on Amazon. You can get them. It's good. But just to own the physical copy of this, look at this beautiful artwork. Where do I begin? Where do I begin talking about chapter 80? I guess we can start by talking about this lovely image that we have here. This is Sakura, very reminiscent of how the original Cardcaptor Sakura ended, in a very similar pose, sitting out here in the sky with birds. The only difference here is that unlike in the original series where she didn't have wings, she was just kind of floating, now she does have the flight wings. They have, Clamp have decided to keep the flight wing motif this time, and I love this image where it shows very clearly how these are kind of like little pillows rather than just wings. Like, you can see how nice and transparent they are. It's great, translucent. But what happens in this chapter? Well, before we do that, we can go over a quick recap of the final chapter. The chapter 79 is really where the climax of the series was. Give me a second here. There we go. Chapter 79 is basically where the actual climax of the series was. It's where Sakura used her magic to fix Kaito's whoopsies and put the world back the way it was. For the most part, you can actually see over here, the Kinomoto house still has its little extension, so the world is in somewhat of a still rewritten state. And after using all of that magic, she had to sleep for 4 days, as you can see here. Sakura is here in her room, and she is having a voice call with Ariel. This is where the first of our several plot cleanups begin. So Sakura is talking to Ariel, and they're going to discuss a few things. First off, they're going to discuss a visual thing that I didn't really pick up on in the previous chapter, and actually maybe if we go back we can see if it was this way, but I'm assuming it was, because one of the things that I've actually neglected to do throughout Cardcaptor Clear Card for one reason or another, this is really my failing as a reviewer, is I haven't really spent enough time talking about all of the not pretty things that they wrote into, or that they drew into. Like, I've gushed about the quality of the art in general in Cardcaptor Sakura, but I've never gushed about, like, the stuff that gets hidden in the background. And one of the things is right here that's being talked about is where Ariel is describing that when Sakura used the blank card to erase the magic book, all of the spells flew off of the book and turned into books that flew away. Where did all those go? Well, Sakura explains that she sent them to her father's library. You can see them all piled up here. And now we get a flashback. This is basically the night that chapter 79 ended on when Sakura woke up. She went down to her father's library to see all of the books have been gathered up there. So what she does, of course, is she asks Fujitaka, if she's allowed to keep them there, and Fujitaka actually volunteers to keep them there because, as he laments down here, basically, he's felt that even though Sakura has been having all of these troubles, quote-unquote, for several years since she was in 4th grade, he's never felt like he's been able to help out. It really calls into question how much, to what extent Fujitaka's really known about things, or whether, or maybe Sakura has actually sat down and had a longer chat with him about stuff, but I mean, she's never even told Toya. Like, it's hard to imagine she's told Fujitaka, and it's kind of hard for me to keep track in my mind, like, which things were in the manga and which things were in the anime sometimes. Maybe after this, when I go and redo my entire read of Clear Card, I'm going to go and do another reread of Cardcaptor Sakura, and why not? Hidden in this scene, though, we do get an interesting callback, or rather an Easter egg, because this glyph here is, if I'm correct, this is the tattoo that is on 5D Flowrite in Tsubasa. So, while Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card is still basically maintaining its status as kind of like its own contained thing, it's still part of the Clamp multiverse, and therefore is leaving itself open to be connected to the multiverse at some point, maybe. But either way, it's leaving itself some Easter eggs, and the point of the scene is basically saying that, that right here where Fujitaka is saying that, you know, things find their way to the places where they belong, so effectively, we're basically saying that Fujitaka will hold on to this book plus other books until they find where they're supposed to go, and presumably that means that someday this book finds its way into Phi's hands, somehow. As a final scene for Fujitaka, it's a pretty nice scene. You know, this is a great frame to end on him. It's a shame that this chapter doesn't give us a final frame with Nadeshiko, though. I'm just going to talk about that right now. I said in the last chapter where I felt that, like, when Sakura needs help and Yelan gives her help from Hong Kong, that I said that scene, that really should have been Nadeshiko. No disrespect to Yelan, but I just felt like I felt like that scene should have been Nadeshiko. I did hope that maybe Nadeshiko would show up in the final chapter, but she does not. That's just the way it is. Nadeshiko, I think, showed up, like, I don't know, the last time I think she showed up was like in chapter somewhere in the 60s, right? And she's just gone again. Poor Nadeshiko. I mean, she is dead, so it's like you can't expect her to be around all the time, but it kind of felt like that's where we were going. So after that, we go on to Sakura has some questions for Ariel. Basically, she wants to know what happened to the clear cards. Now, you don't get this in the English version, but as it was pointed out to me in the Japanese version, there's an interesting distinction here. Throughout this entire series, we have been calling these cards, the ones that Sakura has been making throughout this series, we call them the clear cards. And that is what their official name is. That, like, the Japanese title for the arc is the Clear Card Arc. So, like, that's their official name. But in Japanese, Sakura doesn't call them the clear cards, the Kuriya cards, like in Japanese with Romanji. She calls them transparent cards. That's literally what they are. They are the transparent cards. She doesn't call them by their proper name. She calls them by their descriptive name. It's interesting. It kind of leads into this thought, and we're going to cover it a little bit down here, but it kind of leads into this thought that, like, Sakura was never truly as attached to these newer cards as she was to her old deck. Which is a good thing, because as we see here, when Sakura is asking what happened to them, Ariel basically says that their magic was bound to the Clockland book and they are gone. And what is Sakura's feeling on that? Basically whatever. Like, she doesn't really seem to be that broken up about it. Like, she doesn't really seem to care that much. Ariel also says that the two newest cards that were made, the Akiho Blank card and the Xiaoran Remind card, were also burned out and lost, which I actually think I said that in the last chapter. I think because I've been theorizing for a while that the clear cards wouldn't make it to the end of the series. And so when these two cards were made, my theory was that, yeah, they were going to get burned out, which they were. That's basically what Ariel is saying. These cards used up all of their power and ceased to exist. So Sakura is left with only her original Sakura cards, but with a twist. She actually states that the cards have taken on some new looks. They have taken on some aspect of the clear cards. So we can see here that the front designs have, I believe, changed a little bit. And we're going to look at these compared to the older cards. But you can already see that, like, Sword and Shield, we commented when they were used in the final battle, they changed design. Like, their actual cast designs were different. So Sword is no longer a rapier. It's actually like, well, it's still basically a saber, but the cross guard has gone to two-sided, and the shield card has completely changed shape. You can also see in the side here that while the cards appear to be solid, here you can see that the stars are see-through. Like, this one's all black, but this one is overlapped a little bit. So some of her black uniform and some of her lighter colored sheet. So these stars, which are not visible on the front, by the way, these stars are see-through, so they have actually kept some aspect of the clear cards. And we're going to minimize here for a second because we want to show. So here's what an original Sakura card looked like. You can see, like, moon, sun, a regular old star on the front, and the kanji looked like this. Now, if we go back to here, we can see, I think the fonts on these have changed. They're a little more in line with what the clear cards looked like. The sun and the moon have changed their shapes a bit. Now, I actually don't know, because these are based off of, I believe, the manga look, but you can see that these are different. And also the star at the bottom is different. I believe that those are shaped more like a clear card. Whoops. Let's go up here. Let's go back up to, okay, so here. Yeah, so that was the clear cards kind of star right here. These sun and this, okay, so you see these sun and moon here like this. Very different from the sun and moon on the Sakura cards as well as the star card. So they basically looks like the new version of the Sakura card have taken on sort of the face look of the clear card. So same sun, same moon, same newer star. Looks like the font is largely the same as the clear card, and we've also seen that the backs have taken on these transparent stars. Now, if we look at the backs, here's what the new clear card looks like, or here's what the new Sakura card looks like at the back. So you see the same stars. And this is the clear card magic circle. For reference, this is what a Sakura card looked like at the beginning of the story. So this is from chapter 1, when they had the ominous beginning of the show of the manga. This is what a standard Sakura card looked like: big ol' star, other reverse star, sun, moon, the cardinal directions, and it wasn't see-through like is shown here, but that's what it looked like, and the same stars. Now we go to chapter 80, and we see that the backs of the Sakura cards have changed again. So this is Sakura's new circle, same stars though. So yeah, it looks like the Sakura cards have gotten a cosmetic overhaul with her new powers, but otherwise they are still the Sakura cards. So they're the original deck with just a little bit of cosmetic difference. It shows that the Sakura cards have now upgraded despite not being in her possession, but they theorize that it's because she was using it through her new Dream Staff. If you're wondering why I'm talking so much about the art, it's because, as I said earlier, really haven't talked about the art as much as I really should, and this chapter does have a lot of interesting information hidden in the pictures. And also, we see that the flight card is, in fact, the lone survivor of the clear cards. So, congratulations, Sakura, you now have 2 flying cards. You have the fly card and you have the flight card, which is interesting here. This is another thing that we can look at here. So have a look here. The kanji for fly is considerably larger than it is here. So just a fun little thing. And also, yeah, like look at that. Very basic design, very basic star design here. And here we are, the clear star with lots of extra stars. It's just stars everywhere. So yeah, Sakura's deck is now a even 20 cards in the manga, because the original manga, she only had 19 cards. There was no nothing card. That it was a movie exclusive, so she finished the series with 19. She now has a nice clean 20. So now we move on to the next part, and this is actually going to be a surprise that we're going to use later. She asks Ariel something, and we don't get to see it. It's going to come up later in this chapter. But spoiler, what she's talking about, she's asking about Akiho. But we don't get to see that right now. She's late. She has to run off. Before she does that, she has to reflect on the fact that she has 2 keys. She's also pulling out the clip that she was given at the beginning of the series, but much has been said about that. It's just going to be a motif thing that's going to show up all over. But let's look at the 2 keys here. So I do remember for a long time we were questioning about whether or not the star key had become the dream key. We established that a long time ago, that she still had 2 keys. But now she pulls out the star key and comments that, just like how she was saying what her father said, that things have a way of going where they belong, she takes a moment here to wonder if the star key will someday leave her and go to someone else. Now, I'm told that this bubble is actually kind of mistranslated here. It's actually giving a little too much, it's basically giving too much away, because if you've read Tsubasa Chronicle, you know that Sakura from another universe, presumably this Sakura actually, eventually gives her star key away to Yuko, who as a payment for something. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail of what that is. Go ahead and just read Tsubasa for yourself. But the point is that they're basically tying up that little loose end that we had been speculating for a while, like, where's the star key gonna go? Well, Or did she lose the star key at all? Well, it's been sitting in her box the whole time, and she's just saying that, someday that's going to go away. And again, the reason that this is kind of mistranslated is because it adds this extra person it chooses to be with thing that's not part of the Japanese as written. So we're going to stop off down here to see Toya, who now the cat's completely out of the bag. Like, Toya and Kiro can interact casually with each other, so it's all good. And I just want to focus on this final frame. So this is Toya's final frame for the series, and you know what? It's a pretty good one. Just like him and Kiro are now buddies, and I am totally okay with it. Moving on, we get to our scene, our first scene with Xiaoran, and our more important one, because we'll just look at this. Like, Xiaoran wanted to come see her, and the moment's not lost on either of them, actually. Like, when I read this page the first time, my attention was mainly drawn to the Sakura face here, but I am noticing that, like, Xiaoran was too smooth for his own good. Like, he says this line, and he is also just bright red. So, like, again, he's too smooth for himself. Now we move on to the final scene with Suppi, Yukito, and Nakuru, who are all hanging out, and you can see that Nakuru, now that, everything has settled down, she's hoping that she can actually get to hang out with Sakura a little bit. Like, just, you gotta think about it. Throughout the series, they haven't really gotten a chance to just kind of be casual with each other. So she's looking forward to that. They're also discussing a little bit, admonishing Yukito for the deal that he made with Yue, which, as of the time I'm recording, I still don't think the series ever really made it clear what the deal was. I mean, we know what the results of the deal were, is that Yukito gained effective control over Yue's powers and over the transformation into Yue, which still feels weird, like, robbing Yue of so much agency. But whatever, I guess. It's a thing that I still don't really understand the point of. I get, like, from Yukito's perspective, he doesn't want to pass out anymore, or at least from his perspective, he doesn't want to lose so much time, but I don't really understand what the goal of gaining Yue's powers was. Like, from a narrative perspective, from a meta narrative perspective, I just really don't know what the whole point was. Okay, so let's get to the big part of this chapter. First off, we have Tomoyo's only speaking line, I believe. Oh boy, I've got thoughts about that. But let's go ahead with the major plot thing. Akiho is stated that she is going to leave the series. She's leaving Tomoeda. She's effectively leaving the series. I mean, she might as well be leaving the series. The series is over. Thoughts on that statement later. But yeah, Akiho is leaving, and everyone's shocked except Sakura, because that's what she was talking to Ariel about earlier. Sakura wants to take a moment to talk to Akiho herself, and Akiho explains that the reason that she wants to travel is because, well, it's because Kaito hasn't really recovered from the incident that happened. Basically, while he is now a human again, and like the curse on him, or the forbidden magic has been removed, and even his pocket watch has been repaired, although it's still cracked in this artwork. Even, I guess when they say that the pocket watch was repaired, it started to work again, except it didn't, because it's stated right here that the hands don't move, because Kaito's time has been stopped. Very similar to another Clamp character. Again, Yuko from Holic. Basically, Kaito's time has been stopped, he's functionally immortal, and they want to fix that. While he is immortal, he also won't feel any pain or suffering from his condition, but that's just no way to live. So Akiho wants to find a way to fix that, to travel all over the world and find a book that will have the solution to fix Kaito's issue. She also states that she wants to find Momo because, yeah, we need closure on that one. Like, Momo disappeared at the end of chapter 79, and we never heard from her again, and we will not. Spoiler for the chapter of a review that you're, watching. I don't need to say spoiler for all that. The point is that Momo, this is it. This is all the Momo you're getting in this chapter. She's not here. Akiho wants to go out and find her. So, moving on, we go to the house, which, by the way, I skipped over it, but Ariel has also bought this house, so that's 2 homes that Ariel has bought in Tomoeda. He's bought this house so that it will remain in place, so that Akiho's collection will not be lost, even though she won't be living there anymore. So this is our first look at Kaito, and this is something that's interesting that a couple of people pointed out, that the filter that they've used on his eyes is different. It's actually like the eye filter that they used on him when he was in the dragon form. So that's another thing, aside from the wings, that has carried over to his new form. Oh, but here we go. We finally get the thing that I've been wanting Kaito to do all along, and admit that he was wrong and stupid. And I thought up that plan without you and decided it all for you. Yeah, Kaito, you dunce. Yes, I'm gonna be hard on this. It's like, because I've said this for a long time, like the message of the series was very obvious. Like, yeah, Kaito, he's going out of his way, going behind her back and like deciding this for her instead of talking to her, instead of asking her. Like he's just doing this without her input at all. And it's not like he had to keep magic from her. She knew at least some amount of magic. She knew she was from a magical clan. She had a set of magical robes. This isn't like a thing that he had to keep from her. It just, he chose to. He chose this path all by himself and didn't want any input, even from the person who he was doing it for. He thought he was helping, but it's okay because Kaito is going to make it up to Akiho and us, the audience, by giving us a bit of information that we have wanted to know for a while. His true name. I don't think anyone could have guessed what this true name is, although, in hindsight, it is kind of obvious. But his true name, if I'm pronouncing this right, is Cristo. Now, it's not like Cristo for Christ, it's Cristo, something. It's French. The point is that it means crystal. His name is the French word for crystal. And I say that in hindsight, this is actually kind of obvious, is because of the crystal motif around him. However, it's understandable to have missed it since, you know, all of the clear cards also turn into crystals before turning into cards. So yeah, it was right there in plain sight, but also the fact that like it was associated with the clear cards means that it was obscured enough that you wouldn't necessarily think that his real name was Cristo. So, cutting back to Sakura and her usual group of Shaoran and Tomoyo, we actually do have one more line for Tomoyo, and this is where Sakura is explaining that they're going to, or that Ariel has bought the house, and also they're going to leave Akiho's room in the expanded Kinomoto house the way it was. And okay, why don't we just talk about the fact that I am really bothered that Tomoyo got just nothing in this finale. Okay, let me accept that Tomoyo is not magical and has no bearing on the plot in that regard. I just want to voice how annoyed I've been that looking back on Clear Card, Tomoyo really just had nothing to do in this entire series. She, to a degree, was flanderized. She was boiled down to just make costumes and film Sakura. And yes, she still functioned her role as sort of an emotional aid for Sakura, like to give her guidance and help her talk through things, but for the most part, Tomoyo just feels like she had nothing to do in this series. And it shows when in the final chapter she has basically nothing important to say. Calling back to that emotional rock though, like, I still do love this frame where Sakura admits how much she's going to miss Akiho, and the person she hugs is Tomoyo, not Shaoran. Shaoran over here wishing it was him, but nope, Tomoyo gets the hug, so to some degree, that makes up for it. Alright, so cutting down to the final scene, we have, first off, this lovely frame of Akiho that really, I believe I already brought it up. Yes, this lovely frame of Akiho that really calls back to her very first appearance in the show. Basically the exact same posture, just obviously a different outfit. A lovely outfit, by the way. It's a little, maybe, overdressed for travel, but on the other hand, this is a world where everyone dresses up for everything, and I commented before a long time ago that I just love the way everyone dresses in Clamp's world, so you know what, I'll give it a pass. It's actually totally not overdressed for travel. It's actually, if anything, underdressed. Just, it's great. I love it. So I'm actually totally okay with it. Never mind. Let's continue. Let's actually talk about the fact that Sakura is wearing this pin. So she's traded in the wing pin from Chapter 1 of Clear Card to the bear pin, which was given to her by Mizuki at the end of Cardcaptor Sakura. So great little continuity right there. Now, over here in the background, we have Kaito and Shaoran having a moment. This is perhaps the only moment of no hostility in the entire series where Kaito offers to teach Shaoran time magic at some point in the future. Now, this is an interesting moment when you think about the anime where they had a time card, so you do have to wonder how they're going to adapt this for the anime because, Shaoran's going to be like, well, I already knew how to use time magic, though he used it through a Clow card, so I guess you don't really necessarily have to change it too much, that Kaito could simply offer to teach him how to use time magic without a Clow card. Also, for the record, yes, I'm going to continue calling him Kaito because A, I don't like the name Christo, and second, yeah, it's Kaito. After 80 chapters and 7.5 years, it's Kaito. You're Yuna D. Kaito. I'm going to keep calling you by your pseudonym. That is your real name. I don't care. Okay, so at the end of that, we scroll back to Akiho and Sakura. Akiho has something important to tell Sakura. Do you have any guess what it is? It's Akiho's real name. Akiho's real name is Cosmos. Cosmos, like the flowers. Okay, just like I said about Kaito up there, I'm going to keep calling her Akiho instead of calling her Cosmos. And let me just say here that it makes enough sense because in all of the ways that this series has forced the idea that Sakura and Akiho are very similar, they actually do give us a lovely explanation that a cosmos is called the Sakura of Autumn. In Japanese, a cosmos is an Akizakura, so her Japanese name is very close to Sakura. It is once again forcing that connection that I am going to continue to say was forced. I'm not going to focus on that right now. I'd like to focus instead on this adorable frame where Akiho states that she's not going to tell Kaito yet because she's still just a teeny bit mad at him. And so he doesn't get to know her real name yet. Just so cheeky. And Sakura, Sakura mimics back with her own finger on the lips. It's a great scene. I love this frame, despite that basically... No, I don't really want to go down that road. Look, the point is it's a cute moment. I like it. I do. I like it. I'm not going to go any deeper into that. I just like it. It's a great frame. I'm just going to admire the artwork of this. It's good. Let's just move on to the final page. That's it. That's how Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card ends. We have a long future ahead of us. A long future ahead of us that may or may not include Cardcaptor Sakura. But Clear Card is now behind us. This has been a very interesting journey, not just from following the story, which was an interesting journey in itself. This has been an interesting journey for me, to say the very least, at the very end. I've been following the series since it debuted 7 years ago. I have moved like 3 or 4 times in the time that the series has been running. I have changed formats countless times. I took a year off, kind of. No, definitely, I took a year off. This journey has been a bumpy road, to say the least. And I'll be the first to admit that I have not been the kindest to Clear Card throughout its entire run. And I very much intend to do a more in-depth final look at the series. I do want to actually blast through the whole series, like from cover to cover, now that it's fully available to me, so that I can experience the series without all of the time that it took along the way. Because one of the big problems that I've had with Clear Card this entire time was that I felt it dragged. So naturally, I want to experience the series like in one big shot so that I can see if there's any difference. Overall, my overall thoughts on Clear Card are obviously this isn't the sequel that I was hoping for. And I've been spending the last week, basically, since the chapter dropped, reading the impressions of several people representing different points on the fandom spectrum, I guess, between people who have unequivocally loved Clear Card and people that were largely dissatisfied with, and dissatisfied with this ending itself. Which I maintain, by the way, that this ending was always a wrap-up chapter. This was not, like, the ending of the franchise, the ending of Clear Card was last chapter, 79. This was just a character wrap-up. at the end of this journey, it really doesn't feel like a whole lot was accomplished. I think that's my biggest takeaway from this. Just after this long time, I feel like not a lot changed. Like, the characters, I don't actually feel changed all that much. They've certainly done things, but I don't feel like the status quo has really changed much. So it makes me wonder what the point of this journey was. And it makes me wonder, am I going to want more Cardcaptor Sakura if they make it? And for the record, we currently have no indication whether or not there will ever be more Cardcaptor Sakura content. This is a very interesting thing to end on, this bubble. We have a long future ahead of us, but you have to remember that Cardcaptor Sakura's original run ended in 2000, with the anime ending in 2001, and both of these things at that time ended, as far as I know, completely with the intention that that was it. The entire series was contained with that. Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card came out 15 years later, as far as we know, completely unplanned. I mean, yes, they wrote it, but rather, it wasn't the plan in 2000 to ever make a sequel for Cardcaptor Sakura. And now, after 7 years, we have no idea if Clamp intends to make another Cardcaptor Sakura thing. So, I think one of the things that makes it really hard to figure out how I feel about this ending is because, as far as we know, this could be it. This could be the last Cardcaptor Sakura thing we ever get, other than the anime adaptation, which has been announced. So we will get the anime to finish off adapting the manga. But after that, is that going to be it? Like, Clamp are not young. The four women that make up the Clamp group, they're all, I think, at least in their 50s. And they have another project that they're going to. They're going to Holic Ray. I don't think that they can really wait I don't think they can wait another 15 years to do another Sakura. So if they're planning to do any more Sakura, it's probably going to be in the next couple of years. Or at least they're going to start in the next, like, let's say 5 years to make another one. So if that's the case, it makes me wonder, do I even want more Sakura? Because as it stands right now, as of this recording, I'm not sure I enjoyed Clear Card enough that I would want to see more. I was talking about the fan base spectrum a little bit, and it surprised me to learn that over in the Japanese side of the fan base, at least, there are apparently Cardcaptor Sakura purists who reject the idea of Clear Card existing. It's basically the same as, like, Gen 1ers for Pokemon, or people like Star Wars fans who only like the first 3 movies. Like, the idea that there are people that only like the original Cardcaptor Sakura and as far as they're concerned, don't recognize Clear Card as a legitimate thing. That's interesting to me. I don't think I'm there yet, despite that I have, threatened on occasion to burn Clear Card. As of this recording, I am closer to that side of the fandom, in the sense that I don't think I would want to return to Clear Card like 10 years down the line. But like I said, I fully intend to read Clear Card all the way through again to see if it is improved through the benefit of having it all available to me so that I can read it all in one shot. So that I don't have to suffer through, say, 2 months of waiting for a new chapter while speculating about, like, where the story is going to go. Or basically having figured out where the story is going to go back in, the 50s, like the chapter 50 range, which was 3 years ago at this point, and basically being like, okay, yeah, we figured it out, get on with it, and then taking 2 more years to get to where we are, or get to where Kaito's plan is realized. Like, and let's remember, by the way, that Clear Card was extended. Clear Card was supposed to end, like, last year, I think. It was supposed to end with 14 issues, and then it was extended to 15, and now it's been extended to 16. So it makes you wonder where or how Clear Card was supposed to end originally. Like, how different would it have been? So the point of this entire rant here is basically to say that I have a lot of mixed feelings about the end of Clear Card. And while I am happy that the journey is over, that kind of makes me unhappy because Clear Card became a chore for me. And as someone who loves the original Sakura franchise, just the Sakura franchise in general, but as someone who really loves the original version, I want to love all the things affiliated with Sakura. And I don't love Clear Card. I think I have the capacity to like it. And like I said, it's going to take a rereading to figure that out. But I recognize that maybe I really set myself up for failure doing these videos. And I don't want that to come off the wrong way. I'm like, thank you everyone who has been listening to me talk about this series for 7 years. I'm sorry if I was ever so negative that I turned you off. And if you came back after that, thank you for giving me so many chances. I think I am happy that I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I am still podcasting. Keepers of the Clow has a video coming out soonish. I didn't get it edited this week because I'm sick. But, you know, that project's going to keep going. And that really is a testament to how much I love the original series, because I've enjoyed Cardcaptors more than I have enjoyed Clear Card. And that's really saying something about Clear Card. But the thing is, and I keep coming back to this, is that, you know, the original Cardcaptor Sakura manga, the original Cardcaptor Sakura anime, Cardcaptors were all done when I was exposed to them. Well, not Cardcaptors, but the original Cardcaptor Sakura manga and anime were done when I got around to watching them, so I could watch the whole thing in one shot. Clear Card didn't have that advantage. I've had to be like everyone else and wait for the series month by month. And I'm not unique, but streaming culture has definitely ruined my ability to be patient. So yeah, the point is that I'm going to make another video about my general impressions about Clear Card, but I'm going to do that after I've reread the series and had a good long think about my feelings for the series. I don't think I'm ever going to love Clear Card the way I love the original series, but I do want to give Clear Card a fair chance, and that does require reading the whole thing, which, as I said at the beginning of this, is finally all available online. I have all of it printed in Japanese because I have every single Nakayoshi, but I can't read Japanese as well as I can read English. And it's gonna be another year before volume 16 is printed in English. So I'm gonna have to resort to unscrupulous means to read the whole series again. Anyway, thanks everyone for sticking with me for all of this time. Aside from the Clear Card video that will come out hopefully sometime in the next several months, it's going to be a scripted kind of video. I'm going to write a script and just narrate it. But aside from that, the only other Clear Card thing that's going to be coming out, there is a bonus epilogue chapter coming out in April, I believe, or maybe March. I don't necessarily intend to do a video on that unless it's like a really big deal. So stay tuned for that, but we'll at least have a month off for that. In the meantime, this channel isn't going anywhere because I'm still going to be continuing Keepers of the Clow. That's going to keep going. That is a new passion project that, like I said, I've enjoyed Cardcaptors more than I've enjoyed Clear Cards at the time. Ooh boy, that's still weird to say. But thank you everyone for watching. I hope you'll stick with me with the next endeavor. I hope you'll come back when the anime comes back, because I'll probably be talking about that. The anime is going to change things. Clamp anime always kind of sand off the rough edges that the manga has, so the anime will be a different experience. But until then, I, as happily as Sakura here, sign off from doing chapter videos about Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card. Until next time, thanks for watching.